Welcome to CXCY, the new video series that explores customer experience trends across industries to identify the why behind customer reviews and feedback. My name is Dan Gingiss, the Experience Maker. I'm a customer experience keynote speaker, author, and podcaster, and I am so excited to lead you on this journey of this new program. Each episode, we're going to explore a new industry and highlight customer experience drivers to understand consumer behaviors by mixing quantitative data and qualitative feedback. So whether you're left-brained or right-brained or a little bit of both, you're going to enjoy this program. We're also going to provide key insights no matter what industry you're in. As I always say, if you want to find inspiration, don't look at your direct competitor. Look at other industries. Look at Amazon and Apple and Disney and all these great companies that we know provide a great customer experience. And then ask yourself, how can I apply this to my business? So we're going to do that each week with a specific industry, but then we're going to break it down on how you might be able to apply it to your business. Now, this show is brought to you by our friends at ClueTrack, a customer experience analytics platform that helps brands understand why their customer experience drops. This helps them reduce churn and increase profitability. Now, our very first industry is beauty and cosmetics. Now, I got to admit, this is not an industry that I knew a whole lot about until I got to dive deep into the data, and man, is it fascinating. And the good news is I've brought around an expert who can help us dissect all this data, who does know a ton about the industry. I'd like to welcome to the show Loren Taylor West. She is the founder and CEO of CPG Beauty and Beyond, a boutique consulting firm based in Los Angeles. Loren, welcome to CXCY.
Thank you, Dan. I'm excited to be here today with you.
Well, we are super excited to have you. As I mentioned, we need your guidance here in this industry. We're going to show some amazing things that we have learned about this industry. I have never seen a platform that digs this deep into customer feedback. It is so cool what we're going to learn, and I'm so excited for you to be able to explain it to all of us. Tell us a little bit about your background in this industry.
Sure. I've been involved in the cosmetic industry for over 15 years. I've worked on 3 different sides of this industry, both from a vendor side with packaging, working at multiple different brands on the product and project side of the space, as well as in the last 6 years, worked independent consulting, where I'll service companies on a variety of needs.
And I know that you work with new startups as well as existing brands, which is going to really come in handy when we dig into this data. But tell us a little bit about that.
Well, both those, when you're starting out versus when you're established, you have different needs and different requirements of what you're looking for, especially when you're diving into a new industry that you might not be familiar with, and you have a great product idea and you'd like to be able to explore, how can I create this and bring that to market? So usually, people that are in the startup space, they're really evaluating, is my market idea profitable? Is there even space for it? Does this make sense for them to do, financially or even business wise, depending upon their business background, experience, and what they're diving into. As well as on the other hand, when you have established brands, say they already have, launched and they're several years into their process, or they want to optimize efficiency or work to improve their launches, or as well as looking at the markets to consider what new product ideas they want to do. So in that space, they're definitely in this place where they are looking at consumer trends and the consumers that they do have, how they're buying, what are they telling them they would like, essentially.
Awesome. Oh, I think one of the things that we're going to see, spoiler alert, is that the new brands on the scene are definitely making an impact.
They definitely are. I think there's definitely a great space to play in that space, for sure.
For sure. Okay, so Loren, within beauty and cosmetics, we took a look at makeup specifically. This is a subcategory. And we looked at the top 5 drivers to customer satisfaction. And I'm wondering if you might be willing to play a little game with us and try to guess what the number 1 driver is. Now, I'm going to give you some hints. In fact, I'm going to give you all 5 of the top drivers. I'm just going to put them in alphabetical order, and you got to tell me which one is number 1. So the top 5 drivers in the makeup category are color, customer experience, design and looks, ease of use, and effect longevity. What do you think would be the most important to customers?
Well, out of those choices, Dan, I would have to say color is so prominent in makeup. You want to make sure you're selecting the right color for you, depending upon what type of makeup you're buying, and you want it to give you that unique feel and fit that you're looking for.
Well, before I tell you the answer, I want to tell you that the way that ClueTrack rates this is by something called a popularity score. Now, the popularity score ranks the customer priority for each category driver. The higher the score, the higher the priority. The scale is out of 1,500, and the number one driver with a score of over 1,100 was indeed color. So great job, Loren. Fantastic. I will tell you the thing that surprised me here, and I'd love your feedback on this. Where is price? I would have thought that price would have been a huge driver for makeup, but apparently it's not in the top 5.
I would say, well, price is definitely important. That color plays such a big role, as well as, effectiveness of the product, depending upon what you're buying. That price can kind of take a backseat a little bit, shall we say, that you have consumers at all different levels that are buying all different price levels. But color, I would say, is such a big driver, because you want to make sure, whether you're buying for nails or eyeshadow or lipstick, you want to find the perfect color for you.
So, Loren, I wanted to read you one verbatim that we captured from ClueTrack of a specific review regarding color. And it says, "I have finally found the right foundation powder for me. Every woman just wants to find that perfect color and long-lasting, great quality foundation that covers up our not wanted flaws on our face. But sometimes it can be really hard finding the one that works and looks best for you. It's the perfect matching color for my skin tone. Ladies, you must give this one a try. You are going to be happy you did. I sure am. I absolutely recommend this to any and all." Now, Loren, when you see a review like that for a makeup product, what do you think?
Well, I think that, one, the customer, that she's very happy with what she bought. Not only did she find a foundation that works with her skin tone, but also she's happy with the quality of it and wants to share it. And essentially, when we create products, any kind of beauty brand, you want to make sure you're fitting with what the customer needs, as well as create a raving fan, someone like her that took the time to go ahead and write a review and wanting to share about finding that perfect color for her.
Yeah, as a non-makeup expert, but as a customer experience expert, I have to say the thing that stuck out to me was the emotion in it. And I tried to do a good job while I was reading it of conveying that emotion. But
Yeah.
the detail that she includes and the fact that she so highly recommends it and tells the ladies out there, the proverbial ladies, that
Yeah.
they're going to love this product. Man, that's powerful.
It is. It is indeed, Dan. And I would say that foundation, along with a few other types of products, are one of those products that sometimes it can take consumers a little bit of time to find that perfect color out there. So, to her point, when she did find something that worked amazingly well for her, you want to share it with other people. Or if you find a brand that you fall in love with that has such a range of great colors, you definitely want to share about it.
So, Lauren, I thought this was really interesting too. ClueTrack's data is actually able to go all the way down into specific colors and look at the positivity rates among all of the ratings and reviews that include references to those colors. Now, I wasn't particularly surprised that pink showed up as the number one most positive color. There was also purple. Blue and black were kind of interesting to me, so I wanted to ask you about those and maybe get some feedback. And then they were followed by brown, white, and orange.
Okay.
Do these colors surprise you at all, or is this what you might have predicted?
From what you just shared, Dan, that color palette and the choices doesn't really surprise me at all. I would say that, considering that you have like your pink and purples, and a lot of cosmetic brands will kind of invite really bold and bright colors into their, eye palettes and all of that, along with following with some neutral and having like the blue in there. Definitely, there's been some trends in the last few years with different types of, makeup looks to have, whether that's an effect under the eye or just some kind of unusual, more bold choices. It doesn't surprise me at all that blue definitely has standed out on the list, along with a few other neutrals as well.
Yeah, I thought blue and orange, as a Chicago Bears fan, those are the colors blue and orange. Those ones surprised me a little bit. But
Mhm.
then again, as I said, I'm not an expert here, but I thought it was really interesting. And, what's really cool is we can actually dig into each of these colors and get specific reviews and specific verbatims about these colors. And I would
Very
imagine
cool.
this is a great way to start identifying maybe future trends.
I definitely would agree with you. And I think from hearing what this software does and the platform does, I think it's great that it's able to take a look at consumer reviews and really pull out key data that consumers are sharing with brands and the industry to really take a look at how consumers feel about the products and what do they love about them and what do they identify most. And as you shared earlier with that one lady's review with the foundation, the emotion behind it and color is definitely part of that mix.
So I wanted to also talk about some of the sub themes that came under color. And I found this to be really interesting because we're able to look at how people talk about color and specifically the phrases that are the most positive. And so the ones that jumped to the top, not surprising, you've got love colors. Great pigment, I thought was really interesting. Pigment is not a word that you hear all that often just on the street. So I want to talk to you about that. Lovely color. Lasting colors, it starts getting into the benefits of it more so than the color itself. Beautiful color, stylish color. So these adjectives to me weren't particularly surprising. I particularly like the word love. And one of the things that I wanted to point out here to those of you that are not in the cosmetics industry is I'm a big believer that it is possible to love any product and any company. Let me tell you a quick story. When I started working at Discover Card, I looked through a lot of customer verbatims, a lot of reviews like we're looking at today. And one of the things that stuck out to me that absolutely blew my mind was how many people said, I love my Discover Card. And I'm like, wait a second, I get it. People love Starbucks, they love Disney, they love Apple products, but a credit card? How could anybody love that? Well, 10 years later working there, I figured it out. And it was really that dedication to customer experience and how they treat customers. And so that is a key takeaway here, no matter what industry you're in. Just the fact that people happen to love the color of their cosmetics doesn't mean that they can't also love your product. Loren, what did you think of some of those adjectives and sub drivers below color?
I think that from what you shared, Dan, when you called out pigment, I think that's really important as well. In looking at the intensity of like the product colors provided, um, it's just awesome when brands can create products that have a really strong pigment so that you can layer with it. So, for example, with eyeshadow products and having really a great intense color is just a really awesome product to deliver.
So one of the things that we saw in the verbatims that I thought was really interesting, and Loren, you touched on this briefly before, is that so many people talk about color as an individual preference, what looks good on them. They're not necessarily looking for a specific color. They're looking for a color that looks great on them. And something that really surprised me that I'd love your feedback on is so many of the reviews mention in a very personal way what the reviewer looks like. So there's phrases like, I have very light skin, or I have very dark skin, or I have medium brown skin. My skin is flaky, my skin is oily, my skin is smooth. And it seems like it's in an effort to let others out there, to signal others to say, hey, since you're probably looking for a color that looks good on you, not a specific color, here are sort of my qualifications or the details about me, and hopefully that'll help you make a decision. I haven't necessarily seen that in other industries. I'm just wondering if how that strikes you.
Sure, Dan. I think that that's such an important call out, a great notice of different consumer reviews. And to your point, I think definitely a lot of consumers do want to communicate like what color looks good on them and to fit their demographic and background and how they look. That way, if someone else is blonde and fair skinned, they know what color might look good on them. Because definitely, people do look at reviews and look at sites and see what people are finding beneficial to them to then evaluate what product they might want to try.
Yeah, I think it also goes to this idea of needing to combine the quantitative and the qualitative. So if you just look at the quantitative, you might see that a certain color or a certain makeup category or even a specific brand has a lot of positivity. But that doesn't mean it's going to work for you because you may not look like the people that are giving it positive reviews. And so the combination of the quantitative and qualitative is what is so powerful. So when we look at all of the brands in the space, and there are a lot of beauty and cosmetics brands, what we start to see is that the ones that rank really, really high on color are all of these new upstart brands. Whereas the brands that we tend to think of, if you asked even me to name a bunch of brands in the makeup industry, those ones are not performing really well on color. What do you attribute that to?
That is actually surprising to hear, and I think that with new brands, sometimes they're willing to take risks that brands that are established and in long term, they may not take as many bold risks with diving into areas such as color. And sometimes with new startups, you're trying to kind of target new segments or a particular niche, even within color, or kind of go after a particular consumer target. So it definitely is a little bit surprising to hear, but understandable because new brands might be willing to take more risks than say an established brand that wants to follow a product strategy and stay kind of adherent to like their core value, core color values that they may not necessarily play with as many trends as newer brands might be more open to jumping into.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And again, from the experience perspective, what I would say is, like I said before, you don't always want to look at your immediate direct competitor. So if you're Revlon and you're only looking at L'Oreal or vice versa, you're missing so much of the complexity of your industry, right? And you're missing these upstarts that might be taking more risk or might be doing things differently and are affecting customers in a really positive way. So you want to be aware of that. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the second driver, the second top driver in the makeup category, which is ease of use. And that is defined pretty simply as how easy is it to apply or take off the particular makeup. So I want to read another customer verbatim, this time about ease of use. I'm really impressed. Works wonderful for me. Long lasting, easy to apply and blend. Came in a beautiful package and had a sponge to apply. A little bit of product is enough. The number 6 shade works amazing on my skin. I attached a photo of my face, one side without the product and the other one with this magic touch concealer, so you can actually see the results and the amazing difference. Loren, again, I'm so amazed at how much people are willing to share in these reviews. This woman attached a photo, a before and after photo, or a half and half photo. Is this something that you see a lot?
Definitely, I would say as consumers in the makeup industry and cosmetics and beauty for that matter, it is all about our physical appearance of how a product is helping support us to either cover a flaw or enhance our features, make us look even more beautiful than we already are. And I really think that that consumers definitely provide before and after photos quite a lot. I definitely have seen that whether it's just a submission to brands where consumers will directly send direct feedback or on sites all around about beauty where they're sharing about a product as well.
So we also took a look at the sub themes underneath ease of use. What do customers mean when they're talking about how easy it is to apply or take off the makeup? Well, the words like simple application and easy to apply rose to the top in terms of positivity. So when somebody says it was a simple application or it was easy to apply, they're very, very likely to be very positive about that particular product. Other words that came into play: easily get, nice and easy application, easy process, and effectively removes. Now, Loren, one of the things that absolutely stands out to me is that word easy over and over and over again. And one of the things I talk about all the time in customer experience is that simplicity is one of the key components of a great experience. And that works with products as well. So talk about, now that we're beyond color, we know that was number one, but talk about this idea of ease and simplicity and how important that is in this particular industry.
It's definitely important. You want to make sure your product, the consumers can easily get to the product. So depending upon how you've packaged it, you want the packaging to be functional, serve a purpose, have great design, but you also want it to be easy for the customer to use and get the product out. As well as just from simple application. I'm not surprised at all from that being brought up as well, of having, whether it's like a 1 or 2 step process, having it very easy application, or from the previous review where you shared that the product that she was using had a sponge with it. So really thinking of the customer in mind, what will the customer need to make it an easy application? So sometimes that does mean combining, a sponge with foundation or concealer, or adding an additional item to your product to make it ease of use. But it's very important. You don't want a consumer to buy a product, they can't get the packaging open, it's hard to function. Whatever type of packaging you have for the product as well, have it just be, whether it becomes loose or whether it doesn't really, fit well, especially from bottle to cap selection, many different things to look at. But all those factors definitely come into play. Speaking to that customer experience, how is the customer enjoying your product? How are they going to receive it?
And again, just hearing you talk, I love the detail. I love how deep we can get into this. And I think it's so critical to know that stuff, because this is how we build the products of the future. No matter what industry we're in, we have to understand what our customers want. And I think that the detail that is both in your description and in the ratings and reviews that we're seeing is absolutely fascinating. So we're going to turn now to the 3 takeaways that anybody watching this program can take from the makeup industry and apply to your business. Takeaway number 1, combine quantitative and qualitative data to get the full customer experience picture. Numbers are great, but numbers by themselves don't give you the texture, the color, if you will. You see what I did there? Around why people are rating something positively or negatively. So we have to get to the why. And in order to do that, we got to dig into the qualitative and actually read or listen to customers, hear what they have to say, look at the pictures that they're posting, and really understand them. Number 2, know your customers. One of the things that I learned from this particular industry is how many different kinds of customers there are, with different skin types, different preferences, different needs. And knowing your customer or your customers will help you create new products or variations of existing products that may appeal to multiple different types of people. The makeup industry might be most obvious there, because you have people that have different skin types and different skin colors and need therefore different products. But I would argue that that is also applicable to other products and other industries where those differences in customers might be more subtle. Takeaway number 3, look to new and emerging brands for innovation. We saw, particularly in color, that some of the brands that were making the most waves in terms of color and gaining the most positivity from customers were brand new brands, or brands that don't have the advertising budgets to be having Super Bowl commercials and big magazine ads. But these are the ones that are really making customers take notice. So be sure that you're looking at your entire competitive set, not just the obvious large direct competitors. All right, Loren, unfortunately, our time has come to an end, but thank you so much for all of your insights. I really appreciate all of the detail that you were able to give us and help to explain what we learned about this industry. I, for one, having coming in knowing almost nothing about makeup, feel like I'm at least a mini expert now, so I appreciate all of your help with that.
You're so welcome. It was great to be here, Dan. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for the first ever episode of CXCY. If you're interested in getting to the why of your customer experience, go to cluetrack.com, that's CLOOTRACK.com, and ask for a demo. I'm Dan Gingiss, the Experience Maker, and we will see you next time on CXCY.